We're good.
He's a little
We are recording.
too close. for
We are.
comfort, you know?
We are recording. We are live. So welcome to the Rutland Town Planning Commission. It's Thursday, October 5th of 2023. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. So we still have perfect. We've got 7. So everyone can vote here. Approval of the agenda.
To approve.
Second.
Discussion. Yeah, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and just in case Bill needs this, Sherman is here tonight, Jim, Andy, Jerry, Howard and Norm and myself, and we're all voting. We're up to the public comment period and don't see any public, so we'll go to new business and a brief overview of Act 47, which was passed this past session, but it didn't really get much attention until recently, and even now people don't know what to do with it. There's a lot of stuff in here if you've taken a look at it, and it's maybe a good thing that our subdivision ordinance is still in draft stage, because there may be some things in here we need to add. Even though we don't have zoning, and this is a lot of this is about density and making room and accommodations for multi-unit housing. We really don't address that kind of thing in our stormwater ordinance. Maybe we can add some stuff to our town plan, but we're not going to be doing that for a while. But there's some funky language in here that we need our town attorney to clarify. VLCT, and I sent out this document from the Department of Housing and Community Development. They're all saying, ask your town attorney if you have questions. So the funny stuff in here is that the language that says in residential districts served by municipal sewer and water, you have to do this and you have to do that. It's like 2 or 3, there's at least 2 shalls for those kind of residential districts. So of course we have some of those. We have a lot of those. And whether it just applies to those or the fact that we have them, that it needs to go in a town-wide, in our case, subdivision ordinance, I don't know. But one of them is municipalities cannot require more than 1 parking space per dwelling unit.
Cannot what?
Cannot require more than 1 parking space per dwelling unit. Another one is municipalities, and this is for those
Wait a minute.
water and sewer districts. Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's surprised. This is supposed to increase multi-unit development. And it says it cannot require more than a per dwelling unit. Okay, so a 2-family house with 4 adults can only have 2 cars.
Yes.
No. Can only be required to have 2 cars.
Right.
They can have 6 cars.
Right.
But
They can only have 2 parking places.
Yes.
Or we're only required to have 2 parking places.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they can't park on the street or wherever they want, right?
Yeah.
We can't tell them they need 2.
I'm sorry, it just jumped at me.
Yeah, I think the aim there is that don't use up the land on parking. Unless you have to.
You saying they have to have at least two, in this case? A duplex?
Section 1.
Municipalities may require 1.5 spaces for duplexes and multifamily dwellings in areas without sewer and water.
So like if our subdivision ordinance said you need to have two, we can't do that. The state's saying you can't require them to have two.
Right.
Only 1.5 for a duplex or one for a single family. Huh. Do we stipulate that in our ordinance?
No, we don't have, no,
So it shouldn't really.
we don't
affect
get
us.
into this detail in the subdivision ordinance at all. You know,
Just
we're
start playing with half a car, it becomes a little,
1.5 spaces.
Motorcycle.
Yeah, but it says it can be rounded to the nearest whole number. If existing public parking is not sufficient, round it to the nearest whole number when calculating the total number of required spaces.
Yeah. And half of that's for areas in a town without, that
Yes.
don't have the water and sewer. And the first half is for those that do make available municipal water and sewer. So, and then there's another one that also applies to those with municipal sewer and water. They must allow multi-unit dwellings with 3 or 4 units to be a permitted, not conditional use. And that's zoning.
would you repeat that? I didn't understand it. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
understood your words, but I didn't.
Yeah, in areas served by municipal sewer and water, municipalities must allow multi-unit dwellings with 3 or 4 units to be a permitted, not conditional use. So they have to just be waived through, they have to be, approved. And not with any conditions.
So they're usurping local zoning. The state is. Is that,
Sounds like it.
Yeah, for the sake of, what's the name of this thing? Housing opportunities made for everyone, the Home Act. And then there's dwelling, density standards.
Can you tell us what section you're talking about?
I'm in section 2 now. And down to the dwelling unit density in areas served by municipal sewer and water that allow residential development. Bylaws shall establish lot and building dimensional standards that allow 5 or more dwelling units per acre for each allowed residential use. And density requirements for multi-unit families cannot be more restrictive than those required for single family dwellings. That one's kind of loaded. And then there's one more in municipal water sewer service areas that allow residential development. Bylaws must permit a dwelling unit density bonus of 40% and a bonus of 1 habitable floor above the height maximum. Really getting into the nitty-gritty of zoning. So, we don't know if this really applies to a town like Rutland. The definition of that of the sewer and water, it amends the definition to define served by municipal water and sewer infrastructure to mean an area where a connection is available to municipal water and direct or indirect wastewater systems. I don't know why they would put that in there. for if you had zoning, because in most most cases, if you have zoning, you would have minutes. I don't know. I guess there are some towns that still don't have municipal water and sewer and have zoning. There are some smaller towns in Rowan County. So I suffice it to say, and this is a note for Bill, keep the subdivision ordinance open. And let's have the attorney take a look at Act 47.
Hmm.
And, I mentioned that, even like VLCT is not, is saying consult your town attorney. They're gonna be doing trainings here in the next month or so for municipal officials, but there's still, I'm not sure they'll be answering all the questions, even at those sessions. There's there's a lot of money, at the end of this act for different home programs around the state. So, grants available there. There's this one I didn't read, and that's the hotels and housing assistance. This does not mention municipal water and sewer, but it says bylaws must not prevent or penalize hotels used to rent rooms with public funds for the purpose of providing Vermont general housing assistance. I think that's the vouchers that we've heard a lot about. So that's 47. It's just a lot of laughs. But, I think one question for our attorney, is this something that we can address in our town plan when it does come up? Do we want to take some of the themes here? Try to go with those. Okay. Any comments? Come on, Jerry.
It looks to me like somebody's got a lot of cleaning up to do on that.
Oh, I know.
A lot of loose ends.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that language about districts covered by municipal water and sewer for any other statute.
So is the objective here to make it easier to develop more housing? Is that what?
That's the
overall
ultimate
it's supposed to be?
objective. Yeah, the in-between step is to, loosen up your regulations so that can be possible. Right?
What's the effective date?
Oh, well, most of it started in June or July 1st,
Oh, here it says right here, excuse me,
except the parking requirements
effective September 1.
effective July 1.
Well, some are so effective July 1, some September 1, some provisions
Yes.
December 1, 2024.
So do they expect the towns to come up with the personnel to oversee this and point out where the pitfalls are and the disconnects and
I don't remember the discussion in the legislature and what they expected. But the end result is that, yeah, I mean, we can't even get past interpreting what this is saying.
I think
Simplest,
that
but
that
it's in-
question should be asked because towns are going to be doing budgets here soon and
Yeah,
and if there's a requirement that's not written down here and turns out to be a requirement, then select board needs to know that.
yeah. They know this exists. I'm not sure, what Bill, if he's going to some of the trainings or not.
You know, it's one thing to establish something for new development that's maybe happening, but we're gonna start messing around with all the existing that's out there. It's oh, you could.
I guess.
So much this, you know, Act 250 is over the years has established different developments and so forth, and everything is in place, and now we're gonna go in and try to change some of that.
Mhm.
Would be interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it usually works with zoning. I mean, yes, new development, but if there's a change of ownership or change of use, I don't know if this then also applies in those situations. I don't know.
What about all the pre-existing multi-unit housing that already has 4 parking places? Or two families, or whatever the threshold is. Are there any exceptions?
It just goes back to whether they're grandfathered in or not,
Mhm.
which Howard just brought up.
Wonder what happens in neighborhoods like ours where you have covenants. That say you can't have multi-family housing.
Something. But there was something in the definition. Covenants and deed restrictions. This amends 27 VSA section 545, covenants, conditions and restrictions of substantial public interest. So it amends that to invalidate any deed restrictions or covenants established after July 1st of this year. It invalidates those if they establish minimum dwelling unit size or require more than 1 parking space per unit. That I saw something in there about that.
So that exempts people like in your situation.
You can't,
It sounds like what Barbara just read exempts people
right,
with pre-existing covenants,
yeah.
or most of them.
Boy, that would seem like then you can't have HOAs or anything that, in a planned unit development, you can't,
Future HOAs will
Yeah.
have to follow this.
right?
Existing ones, I assume, are accepted, but I mean, the concept is appealing to increase availability of houses, lower the cost for, I talked to 2 brokers this week that are having a horrible time finding places for new couples coming to town that they can afford. This might help the situation. So would high-rise condos theoretically.
Yeah.
or High-rise apartment houses, high-rise, multi-units. Not 50 stories, but things we don't have.
I can't say I agree with the parking thing, though.
I'm sorry,
I can't say that I would agree with the parking. That I think it's unrealistic to even think of any dwelling unit having less than 2 spaces per unit in today's world.
I think you can have them, but you
You
just
can,
can't
but I'm
require
not-
less than.
But I mean, a requirement of
Whatever I
having
said.
less than 2
Yeah.
just
Oh, you
seems,
just can't
Can I-
require
just
them to have.
seems,
Oh,
just gonna,
developers too, if they don't have to put 2 spaces in, they're not gonna do it.
right, but then where does it put the cars? I mean,
Right.
the real world is gonna be 2 cars at least per unit.
Yeah, so needless to say, this is kind of like stirring up waves and such.
And where
Around
is this in terms of its being finalized?
Oh, it was signed by the governor and don't know the date, but after the session ended,
Was.
yeah.
Five units on less than an acre, two's a lot.
Barely gives you enough space to get the parking spaces in there.
Probably objective.
Okay, so we'll probably be hearing more about that. Act 47. Old business, this evening, we've got, so with the river corridors, I don't see us moving quickly on this. Because we've, well, we're waiting on some things from the select board already, with short-term rentals and such. And we might as well take our time with this. And we have, we're gonna get some help. Out of the blue came an offer from an intern at the Nature Conservancy. She also works part-time for UVM, on helping us with the outreach. And that some Nature Conservancy other staff will be available as well. And we'll also have the floodplain manager, Kyle Madash. He's part of this group. And so they're working on some outreach for a town that has for the town of Rutland. They might include Timoth, but they're looking at what our circumstances are. And they're going to have a message. They're going to develop a message about the financial advantages of it, and then the natural resource advantages of it. And we'll have that. They're going to take until like the first of the year to do that. We're going to have a series of meetings for that. So, and they'll probably deliver that in person at that point. But it should give us some ideas for doing our own outreach. What we have, I'm still waiting for a better map than that one that gives us a better idea where these affected people will be. But the 42 has gone down to 35 because Marcia, there's several instances where she said there's no such address. And so it was like maybe a shed or something that came
Is
up.
that
but-
where that came from, the lister's office, that listing?
Yes,
that
the one I
listing?
sent out, yeah. Bill sent
Got
out.
some, yeah, that's got some issues with it, that listing. I mean, there's reasons why. Well, some of those had like a zero address, right?
Right.
And that shouldn't have been, that shouldn't have showed a zero. What's happened is when 911 came and we assigned numbers to the grand list of every parcel. It was great for the ones for homes and everything else where we had numbers, but then when we got to vacant land, just an open parcel of land, we said, what are we gonna do? So we assigned it a number to start with. We assigned it just a round number, like to the nearest 100 or something. We tried that. That ended up getting us in a little trouble because somewhere along the way, somebody would use a number. All of a sudden, it's a vacant piece of land. They're going to build a house on it. They would start with the, telephone and everybody else, and start using the number that we had, which was not a 911 number. And we had to undo that. So I had Marcia go in and I said, take those numbers, any vacant piece of land, remove the number. We can't have a number in there. Well, she apparently put zeros in. So it came up with a zero, is what it looked like.
So the E911 addresses start in a lister's office. You
Well-
give the state E911 that list.
Well, E911 was done by E911 1997. E911, they drove all around town and they assigned the numbers as they did it automatically. But then from that point on, any new construction, the 911 coordinator, and I was that for a number of years, we measure and come up with a number. the proper number for it. But if it was a vacant lot, we really couldn't give it a number. By giving it a number, sometimes those numbers got out and they got used by attorneys and recordings and everything. And so there shouldn't be any numbers in a vacant piece of land. If it's just a vacant piece of land, you need to have a driveway. You know, it needs to be like a
Yeah.
driveway to a house or
Yeah.
a building, something.
So yeah, I mean, this came from Marcia, but I sent her a list from our layers, our 911 layers at the Regional Planning Commission. We looked at that map and all of the, all of the structures
Yep,
there,
yep,
and pulled up that layer and came up with addresses that maybe weren't in her system.
And some of those where they said there's no such number as this,
Yeah.
might have been one where a number was assigned and it shouldn't have been. It should have been, those should have been cleaned out, and apparently they weren't cleaned out, so. But anyways, I saw the list and
Yeah, so,
I gotta try to get my hands on an up-to-date listing of the grand list. And then I could have done that, or at least I didn't know what was going on.
Howard, what if it was a vacant piece of land at the time the 911 numbers were assessed and then developed, or somebody bought it and built something on it? It got a
Well,
number,
Well, when they build something on, first of all, they gotta get a number assigned to it. I mean, that's the first thing.
but the number, if the one on the south side of the vacant piece was 28 and the one on the north side was 30, then what kind of number does the one in the middle get?
Wherever the driveway, if you're gonna talk about a dwelling or a building or something, wherever it is, you measure to it. And it's assigned, it's measured, it's every 5.28 feet, basically, is the way the numbers go up the street. And it's
Every what? 5.3 feet?
every 5.28 feet is the way, if you start at the beginning of a street, every 5.28 feet would be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's the way emergency vehicles, when they get to turn and go up a street, on the odometers, they can see, it gives them indication of where they gotta go, and that's, so it's all numbers. So some of those numbers there shouldn't have been there. The zeros shouldn't have been there, or some, but that's no big deal. But
yeah,
to clean those up, I'll try to get my hands on a listing and fix,
okay,
what's there?
okay,
because you can't really use a 911 number for a vacant piece of land which does not have a 911 number. We could assign it to the property owner,
Yeah.
whoever owns it, but it wouldn't be a 911 number.
is it safe now to just take those out? Just for planning
Well, the
purposes?
problem is they're in the wetland. I mean, they're in the river stream, and we don't want to take them out. We need to keep them in there because they're in the system. I'm gonna be in the office tomorrow morning. I got a meeting downstairs at 10, and I'll see if I can. Somebody's in.
Yeah, one of them's a 0, one she says is not in the system, our system.
Yeah, and that's, I'd like to see what some of those are.
Okay.
I know what the zeros are. The zeros, it shouldn't have been any number at all. It shouldn't have
Yeah.
been.
So there may still be 42. There may be less than that. At my count, 5 of those are government, so they're already covered by state permit. So, they whatever the town passes would not apply to them because they already have to meet what the state says they have to meet. And so that's similar to like the hydroelectric dams. They have federal government that they answer to. When you take those away, we've got around 16 that are offices, commercial or manufacturing, like Karis Reels. And businesses like the Fortress of Fun and at Flory Plaza and Gowet. So there's those, and I've got a message into Act 250s. Are most of those covered by Act 250? If so, they don't, whatever is passed by the town doesn't apply to them. They have to meet the Act 250 standard. So I sent the list of those addresses to the office here in Rutland, just asking whether they are part of Act 250.
Commercial ones?
Yeah. Anybody have any ideas about
Wasn't Act 250 in the 70s?
early 70s?
I would think like Gallup probably wouldn't be covered by it. Gallup's been there forever. Only something after that, right? Maybe, does that sound right?
Yes,
After that date. Sounds right. It probably isn't.
We certainly want an accurate list. We don't want to miss anybody or any parcel or anything. It needs to be
Right.
an accurate list.
right.
Everything, you know. That's my concern, but, I'll see what I can get.
Okay. Okay. So maybe 16 of those commercial types that might be covered by Act 250, maybe not. 13 residential parcels in here. So, that's that's nowhere close to 42, so. And one museum. I'm not quite sure how,
Oh, that's the Rockwell Museum?
Railroad.
I think it's the Railroad Museum.
Oh, the railroad. Oh, okay, sure.
They call it, it's 79 Depot Lane.
Yep, that's the
They
railroad.
call it the railroad station, but
And the reason you said 16 commercial, those are potentially ones that may be covered by Act 250.
yeah,
And if they are, they've got this, they already have things in place if they're covered by Act 250.
right. They have to follow what
Right.
Act 250
Set up for
did.
them back when, yeah.
Yeah,
So
for,
potentially six-
for even, yeah, for floodplains and river corridors.
so 16 of them may be covered under that anyway.
Yeah,
possibly.
yeah, it's Gowett, it's Joe and Becky Rizzi on 24 McKinley Avenue.
That's the flower shop,
They,
right at the corner of
what's it
Route
called, in the corner of,
Oh,
Mr.
okay,
Twitters.
Mr. Twitters, yeah,
Mr. Twitter's right.
okay. Railroad Station, the Fortress of Fun. The Florries are now in Troy, New York, it looks like. We got the mailing addresses here. A manufacturing facility at 628 Business Route 4, CFC RE LLC. The headquarters, I guess, is in Proctor or the home
yeah,
base.
that's Curious Reels is what it is. Curious Reels
Yes.
headquarters in Proctor, but Curious Reels has a number of parcels here. On both. And certainly they're probably in it, Curious Reels. If the railroad station is, Curious Reels is right there with it, right beside them. In fact, there's another building, out here that's Curious Reels owns two buildings, they're two separate. They're two separate entities there now, but.
And there's a commercial place at 605 North 59 North Campbell Road, James Earl.
Yep, that's Earl's
Earl's
Trucking,
Truck Group.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's what,
Earl's Trucking. Earl's Trucking on Campbell Road.
They're right on that.
how about this one in where the owner's in Texas?
They
Oh,
own us.
That's,
He was on the
US
planning
Route 7 North.
yeah, what's the name? It's but under what name?
It's under Holmes.
Yeah, Richard Holmes. Sure, that's right at the corner where you turn to go to McKinley, going up Route 7 where you turn to go on McKinley. Mr. Twitter's on one side and Holmes, it's that appliance place.
Oh, okay,
He used to be on the planning commission, right? Am I thinking of the same?
Yeah,
guy?
oh, yeah, yes.
okay, okay. And we've got GMCO Properties at 805 Business Route 4.
85, you said?
805.
Yeah.
805.
805.
That's down really, I think that's Gower, 805. No, that's the wrong side.
This has Gowan at 1147.
It could be Curious Plastics is 805 is on the right-hand side going out, and I think that
What's the name of it again?
GMCO Properties.
And it could also be where the wood is, right? Where they cut wood.
Oh, yeah. Whatever, it's the same side as Gowan because they're both odd numbers.
okay, you said, okay, it is an odd number, so it puts it on the. Yeah, it's one of those properties right along by Gower. It's on, I think it's one of those properties.
Yeah.
Dan Carney's in there and
Yeah.
that C&D chopper or whatever's in
Mhm.
there. Now that place, there's something that would be covered Act 250. That little building's been there
Yeah.
forever, right?
Yeah,
I didn't see this before. We have one mobile home. I think just one. This one's on Route 3.
That's Anne Marie Dickinson. And when the last flood we got, I had somebody go out and check on her. She was like on an island. She was fine, but I mean, water was, she wasn't on an island quite yet, but water was around 2/3 of her, let's put it that way. She was, no.
Maybe she might be a good spokesperson for like, don't put anything else in the river corridor.
But our sewer pump station that we got, we're on that list too.
Yeah.
We're,
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Are you covered by the state permit? Yes,
we're meeting with,
but-
we're meeting with FEMA now. We had a meeting today and we got another meeting tomorrow. We had some issues, but, that's a process, really. We didn't have any structural damage to the buildings. We had a propane tank that broke loose, floated away, so we lost all the propane and, like a 350-gallon tank. This has happened twice. It happened during Irene flood and then this flood and then as a result of that, what happened was we pump our sewage to West Rutland. And so when everything came up, the sewer system was full of everything. Pumps, both pumps were running 24 hours a day. So we pumped West Rutland a whole lot of stuff. Normally if we're pumping around 20,000 gallons a day, within a day and a half, we pumped over 200,000 gallons. I mean, it was just constant pumping.
River water. Right?
Yeah, it was, a combination.
River water pumping to West Rome.
Thank gosh for that. Thank goodness for that arrangement with them. We got Praticos. He was
Yep,
on
that's
Route 7 North.
up right at the corner of Lincoln Avenue.
Yeah.
Well, there's a person that when we were talking last week, seems to me that could be very disappointed with this. He wants to maybe he wants to build another shed for trucks, whatever. That he could be really disappointed that the land that he owns, he's now being told he can't use it because he's in that. That was the example.
Yeah, it'd be good to
Maybe not, but I'm just saying he's a prime example because they're in motion all the time there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know, these people don't have a lot of room to move, to add on.
I mean, you look at like Gowitt, that is kind of what it is right now. It's kind of established. It's not really doing anything, but Pratico's just, that thing's always something's going on there. So that's, anyway, not that matters.
And we got Karis Reels, Ripley Road, C&D Chopper,
Yeah.
Business Route 4.
They would now be Act 250 covered.
Here's GMCO Properties again, an office building, and Business Route 4. Daniel Hendy on,
Avenue.
yeah,
Right where the road, if you're gonna go to the state police or the motor vehicle place, he's right on the corner when you turn to go.
Garage, right?
the auto or
Auto
the
place.
auto mechanic place. Okay. Um. Related Property LLC, 939 Business Route 4.
That again is down on the strip down here. And they got flooded. I mean, that road was shut down.
Yeah.
Really shut
Yeah.
down.
Does
And-
it
and-
start to pitch up there, like just as an example, is Dan Carney's lot, is he far enough and high enough that he didn't get?
Yeah,
flooded?
he was okay. I think at his building, he was okay, but where the 19th green was.
Yeah.
That's where the water, that's where it
Came
really
across.
filled across there, yeah.
In July.
Yeah, there's a lot of cleanup there. They sell trailers in there now and stuff.
So, and again, I mean, this wouldn't kick anybody out. It's just anything added. They need to, remember the shadow or the infill, just no closer to the river than they are. A couple more commercial properties, GMCO properties again at 1101 Business Route 4. They're here, 1, 2.
Yeah, and the Carrero, or Gowan owns about 4 pieces down through there. They all along that strip on the left-hand side.
Is that what that means? Gallup Marble Company?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And let's see, they have Green Mountain Power as commercial on US Route 7 North. I'm not quite sure.
Well, that's right.
That's their headquarters.
Or the
They're
substation?
Well, it's their,
747 Route 7 North.
the
It-
generating station that right on the left as you're going up.
The one out by itself.
Yeah, yeah,
No village right
yeah.
there.
That certainly is right in
Is
there.
that their
Left
headquarters?
is-
I don't know why they,
Or is on the right-hand side of the road. Yeah, that's where the GMC
This,
hits.
is this on the left hand side, 747?
Yeah, the generating station is.
Hmm.
Glen Station
it's on the west side.
on the west side.
I don't know why they call that commercial.
Well, it's a generating station. It's commercial.
With the other one, the one here is a hydroelectric facility. And the one here and the one at 100 Chisana Drive, there's a hydroelectric facility there.
That's up by Glen Pond. Right, that's the substation up by Glen Pond, maybe, right? Or the generating facility there with a.
No, you said Chisana, right?
Santa,
Chisana, no, that's up. You go Post Road, you go
Yeah,
by the school, Chisana goes to the left.
yeah.
And if you go way out, that's where you get to the penstock that comes down through.
okay,
And they own, I'm not sure what, just exactly what parcel,
So-
they own a little triangular piece of land with absolutely nothing on it. What's the number again?
it's 100 Chisana.
Okay, you know what that is? That's a piece of land with nothing on it. And it shouldn't even have a number. I mean, it's a little.
That's when you guys assigned a number just because you raised.
Yeah, we gave them numbers and those should have been taken off. They should have been.
So that's hydro. The one here's hydro, but the one I forget the name of it, Glen
Gun station.
It could be,
it's commercial.
is it on the same side as Twitter's? Mr. Twitter's?
Yeah,
Is it the
yeah.
same side? Maybe they own a
Um,
piece of land there, Howard, do they? Like right where
740.
everybody swims that maybe isn't actually developed.
No, Twitter's is an even number,
Okay, so that's.
but that's McKinley Avenue.
That's on McKinley.
Oh, McKinley.
That's on McKinley. But Glen Hydro is,
The appliance store is an odd number on Route 7
It would be
North.
that same
it
side.
would be. It would be. The driveway comes on to Route 7 and they're on the,
See what you're saying? All the other hydro plants are utility.
Right.
So why would that one either
no,
not? be
that's
utility?
because of what the listener's office, it's just a mix up. That name should be changed. They should all be the same.
Okay, that should be hydro too. So it's Okay,
Which one should be hydro?
the 747 US Route 7. Green Mountain
That's the
Power.
biggest hydro, I mean, that's the major one there.
It is a big one.
And then there's one other commercial one. It's Paul and Ingrid Gallo. But it's on US Route 7 North, 379.
That's
So
right
that's
next
the-
to the appliance store.
Yeah.
You know, it's an apartment complex right next to the appliance store we're talking about, just McKinley Avenue, you just come up this way, couple of, 2 or 3 lots and that's.
It's just to the left of, if you're looking at the appliance store, it's just to the south and left.
Why do they call it commercial?
It's apartments and he has a commercial space in there for his
Oh,
offices and stuff.
Okay,
I don't think he's used it for that, but that's what it was
that's apartment
designed to do.
and offices.
Not all that visible from the road, is
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah,
on
it's
the
just
road.
Right on the road.
it? Right on the road? Okay.
Kind of purple, I think now. I think he painted it purple, I think, like a deep.
I got the impression he had a lot of storage in there, just a place to leave stuff.
And they must pull and go behind the building, right? Because there's nothing, there's no room out front to.
His parking's all to the left.
Oh,
But
okay.
there's a little house down in back of them,
Yeah,
That-
but there's a
this-
sign there that says clean field wanted. Now, they must be on that list because they're right in the river.
they gotta be there, literally. on
They
the-
gotta be.
So that would be sort of near 379.
If not, that's somebody
That's a-
missed that one.
Oh, absolutely.
With Irene, that place got pounded.
They're right on the river.
There's 431 US Route 7 North. Jeff Burke and Tammy Congleton.
That could be,
Might, yeah.
that could be,
So we might be able to take off some of these offices and commercial manufacturing when we hear back from Act 250. We already can take off 5 for government. The museum. Not sure where that falls. So we've got 13 residential ones and they're all over town. It's really weird. Up north, northeast, Silver Birch Place.
That's the condos.
There's a multifamily dwelling in Old Falls Road. There's a single family dwelling on Cold River Road here. McKinley Avenue. The US Route 7 one we just talked about. Cold River Road, another one. Cold River Road, another McKinley Avenue. Well, I guess those are kind of congregated.
I thought we had flagged those on. We had flagged something on the grand list when I was working over there to do with. Or maybe it was Muzzy Broker or something we flagged. Maybe it wasn't this year, I guess.
And then East Pittsford Road, there's a single family dwelling. And Amanda Drive, which is Colonial Estates.
Yeah.
Where's Amanda Drive? That doesn't sound familiar.
Oh,
It's up by Colonial Estates. You know where that is? It's a road that drops down and it basically ends up down behind Glen Pond. From the river down by Glen Pond. From the other side, right, Howard? I mean, I'm probably
Yeah,
not
yeah.
saying that perfect.
yeah.
You go down a pretty darn steep.
That was a,
Should have never been.
before that developed, remember they came in, I don't know if you were here, Andy. at the
Yeah, I
time,
was there.
And there was a number of issues. Number one, the grade of the hill was too steep. And then there was some question we were hearing that there was maybe a bunch of stumps and debris that were buried on that hill. There was a lot of
yeah.
concerns. And so what the planning commission did was they put a restriction on that development.
Yeah.
That it wouldn't be a town road because it wouldn't qualify as a town road and started selling these lots. These people came into the select board and fought it, and the select board turned it all around and made it into a town road after we had done what we did in the planning commission. Yeah, that was bad.
That was a long time ago.
It was. I
Seems
mean,
like-
but I mean, we went through all the pains to protect that place by putting, it's in the deeds. I mean,
Remember they came in, the fire department didn't want to go down there because of the steepness and
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was about a 10% grade, I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really
As we
steep.
went up there and measured the grade.
Yeah.
Couple of spots,
And the
Uh,
select board.
and then,
select board
and it
overrode
goes
us.
down and then turns.
But the select board overrode us after we had established that, got it all worked up and was. we're
And
selling-
got them to
and
agree.
people were building houses down there and they came in and got to the select board and the
Okay.
select board caved in and said, okay, it's a town road. I mean, I
But
don't know
one of-
about a school bus, Jim, going down that road.
I don't remember it.
One of those
Remember?
houses is off on the east side of the road and it's low, it's close to the river.
It's
I mean,
really close to
yeah,
the river.
yeah,
If you're
yeah.
on the other
that's
side,
Probably the one that they're talking about.
Yeah, they're right near the river. It must have been pretty wild in that area. But
yeah. So, you know, some of these people some might not really, you know, fight this. Because they're so close. I mean, like that one, there's not much, they can't really go much closer to the river.
can't put anything any closer. You can't put this.
Right. That's the key. So, I'll break these out a little bit prettier after you go through the grand list, and we'll just talk about what should be on here or not, and then we'll just continue to take a look at where these are and what our argument should be, or what we expect their arguments to be on this. Provided we want to go ahead with this.
It's gonna be hard to be consistent.
How's that?
Well, each one is gonna be located at a different distance from the waterway. And, each one is gonna have a unique set of circumstances as to why they shouldn't be impacted.
But it's kind of like, the flood hazard area now, that varies, in width and that kind of stuff. So it's not a totally foreign concept. That,
Well, it tightens it,
Yep.
it's,
There may be more sensitivity to, but also given the flooding and the
right,
problems we've had with rain.
right.
we're gonna almost have to have pictures of each place. And how, and maybe we can get some aerials, which will show us better. Google. Google Earth.
Mm-hmm,
So we can visualize it.
mm-hmm.
He can, but that's, he's been on every one of them, he's lived it.
And to your point, Sherman, I would think the businesses would be like, yeah, I mean, we don't want to get any closer. They might be more amenable, given the frequency of flooding now. Some of them we've looked at tonight, they're established, they're not gonna get
I don't think
much
it's,
bigger, and
I don't think it's necessarily, it would be an intention or even thinking about it, but it just, to me, it's that headset that I'm being told now that I own this piece of property and maybe I was gonna put something out there and sure it floods there, but now I'm being told you can't. I think that's gonna be the headset. There's gonna be people that are gonna be strong-willed about that.
Mhm.
And I don't blame them, but hopefully they see the logic.
In some cases, whether they had plans for it or not, it's like.
Right.
"Oh, come on."
Right, don't, that's right.
Okay, we'll just keep noodling away at this. Any other comments? Down to announcements. Anybody have any announcements? So Cortina just keeps unresolving itself. Although there's a team to negotiate with them. What happened is that the agreement where the town was getting money from the owners to pay for extra law enforcement, that went with the owners and the owners changed. It didn't go with the property, the agreement. So the select board's having to start over again. The agreement with the Cortina, essentially ended when the property sold. Because it didn't go with the property. It just went with the previous owner's names.
Like selling assets but not liabilities is sort of the way it spreads out.
Yes.
Property essentially almost stayed in the family. In a sense,
Yeah.
I mean, didn't go very far.
Yeah.
But the sale wiped out the,
I was at one select board meeting where the old owner said he just met the new owner.
What?
He had just met him.
The paper said that,
It's his son.
what I thought.
Not his son.
Star close.
connection there,
I'm
right?
sorry.
There
Yeah,
was,
there was some connection.
Yeah,
there
it
was
just-
some, I think there was some talk that he was it was his son-in-law.
Yeah, it was a.
pretty close family.
I thought it
I'm
was his
sorry.
daughter. I thought his daughter was associated with the new organization, which would mean something.
He told the select board, I just met this guy.
You just never really knew her that well.
So, yeah, so Matt Getty and Mary Ashcroft are on the team negotiating a new agreement there. But I think it's mostly about what the renewal, what the money is that's going to the town is going to be, as opposed to, they can't do much of what the state schedule is for keeping people there. And
It's probably a combination also what the new owners are gonna do to minimize whatever.
yes, that's true too. They have put up a fence between them and the Hampton Inn. And it's a fence with the plastic screen. So you can't see through it. Yeah. There may be some other things, but that's right. Okay,
Not as bad off as New York City though.
or California, Southern California. Oof, aye. Okay, the minutes from September 14th. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us. 6 of the 7, so we should be good to go here.
I move that we accept the minutes.
Thank you, Sherman.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next meeting would be the 26th of October. We'll just keep going through this list. Getting it polished up. Anything else?
The motion we. Close up.
A second?
I could,
Okay, you're adjourned. Turn this off.
Move it be tabled. What a copy Congress, right?